Alright. Player discretion is advised. Cool. OBS didn't capture that warning enough, but basically what it says is this game contains screen shaking, some jump scares, depictions of like death and needles and everything. So if anyone's sensitive to any of that, or if that's like triggering to any of you guys, please click off the video, because I know that this video, just I'm just advising that. So yeah, because I know about it. But why, hello everyone, and welcome to Mushroom Oasis. Now this is a game that was recommended to me by my good friend Axable Taxable of the IRS. I don't know. Like I'm not as good at coming up with ridiculous names like they are, which is amazing. I love the fact that they're able to do that. But yeah. So if you guys remember, Axel was the one that recommended me Balvini. You know what? I realized I was pronouncing that wrong. Balvini's birthday party. I was saying Balvini. I can't. Yeah. Anyways, we're playing a game called Mushroom Oasis. Now I have no idea what this is about. I just know it was recommended to me, and I thought it would look cool, so let's play that. I want to play that game. So let's play Mushroom Oasis. Let's see what this game has to offer. And like I said, content warning. So please, I know, like how, just want to put that out there. So let's start. What's your name? Let's go with Mando. Cool. Ooh, cool. Let's save. Save. Cool. Oh, cool. Oh, this has like the same like type of like save file as like Doki Doki Literature Club. Okay, cool. Kinda. Or any visual, like visual novel. I forgot what software that is, but yeah, cool. Okay, cool. Mondo, what's your cat's name? What should I name my cat, guys? I should name I can name a cat. Hold on. Oh my god, I don't know why, but I kind of want to name the cat Poppy. I don't know why. I don't know what that reminds me of, but like I think like one of like I knew someone who like their cat was also named Poppy. Let me save. Cool. I'm okay. Stop saving. Return. Cool. Enter. And your cat is what is my cat? Male or female? I guess we'll do female. Why not? Poppy's been missing for a while now. Okay. Well, great. I get to name the cat, and then you're gonna take it away from me. Okay. Poppy has been missing for a while now. She was an indoor cat, but had the tenacity of a wildcat on a mission, trying to leave whether the door was open. Catio and playtime just wasn't enough for the little missus. I figured she'd come running if I left out some food by the porch. 3 days later, still no cat. I tried everything I could think of. Asking around the neighborhood, putting up missing cat posters. Sadly, nothing came from my efforts. I couldn't search for her during the day since I had work keeping me occupied. And there's only so many hours in the evening I could yell around the streets looking for her. There was only one place I left I could think of that she might have ran off to. The woods by my house, right across the street. I definitely caught her eyeing the birds and squirrels that ran alongside the perimeters from the front window, her teeth clicking in excitement. I was no outdoorsy person by any means. In fact, the thought of going in there scares me. But I had to find her, or at least try. The first weekend that came around, I packed up some water, Poppy's favorite treats, and a compass to be safe. I wasn't sure where to begin looking for her, so I started walking in the straight line, calling out her name in every few steps. It certainly didn't take long for me to realize I was way in over my head. Why did I think this was a good idea? It was hard to find any bearings with the surrounding trees. I didn't want to admit I was lost, at least not yet. I could only squint down at my compass as the needle spun slowly. Pretty sure they weren't made to do that. Did I really bring a busted compass on my first venture out in these woods? Figured that would just be my luck. The only thing risking my own safety was my own incompetence. I shook my head hastily. No time for negativity. Poppy was out there somewhere, cold, lost, and hungry. I had to keep going. It's been hours. I'm so lost. I don't even know why I kept searching, even after the moment I had realized that. Why did I think this was a good idea? Hunger had been gnawing at my stomach for a while now. Having missed breakfast and lunch altogether, the heat and humidity from the afternoon sun was unbearable, but the cooling air did nothing to soothe me. Even if I were to head home, I couldn't even pinpoint where that was. What do people even do in this situation? I knew it was a baseless optimism, but walking onward was really the only thing I could think of to do. Surely, I'll come across something familiar. I trudged on, my shoes carefully avoiding the tree roots intertwined across the fourth floor. In my weakened state, plus the approaching darkness, I found myself stumbling through the rough terrain. My feet hit something soft, jutting off of the ground. Ack! My hands shot out as I lost my balance. My feet clumsily tried to find purchase as I wobbled backwards, arms flapping. Poof! Cough, cough. What? What? My shoe had landed and smacked out in a circle of mushrooms, the brunt of it causing a wispy cloud to erupt from the cluster. I stuck my nose in my elbow to avoid breathing it in. I couldn't differentiate one tree leaf from another for the life of me, but I'm pretty sure humans aren't supposed to inhale whatever the hell this was. It smelled strongly of rotten wood and wet dirt, even as it cleared. Something shiny quickly caught my attention. I stopped down to pick it up, gasping under my breath. Oh shit, I don't want to put this here. Cool, sorry. Okay. It was Poppy's collar, covered in whatever the hell those mushrooms released. I looked around desperately for any signs of her. Poppy! Poppy! I coughed from inhaling some of the remaining dust floating in the air. I should really steer clear from this, but I was going to get high on shrooms. Protecting Poppy's collar, I retreated it carefully until I could breathe again. Stepping back, I could still smell it. It must have stuck to my hair and clothes. A quick once over confirmed my suspicions with a slight cringe. A thin yet generous coating off of it covered my sleeves and jeans. I leaned against a tree, dusted off my clothes in a naive attempt to get the dust and smell off, to no avail. If anything, it felt like I was breathing more of it in. What used to be musty now turned sweet, and I found myself inhaling even deeper, trying to pinpoint the smell. Cucumbers? It smelled like fresh cucumbers. A tingly feeling crept up my hands and neck, pinpricks spreading across my limbs as a strange heat reached my face. I started to feel drunk and woozy. My senses were numb. It should freak me out, and yet a strange comfort washed over me. I should lie down. Right now, in fact. My legs gave out from underneath me, my body toppling all over at an awkward angle. I laid there and stared and stared and stared. It was nice here. A peaceful calm. The perfect place for a nap, even. My eyes grew heavy as I swam in and out of consciousness. Yeah, a nap sounds really good right now. Oh. Sorry this happened to you, little one. By the will of the forest, may you rest in peace. Wait! A human? How'd you end up all the way out here? Still breathing, too. Ah, jeez, I can't leave you here. What should I do? I woke up with a jolt. It was warm, but comfortably so. I could feel the weight of a blanket on me as I tried to sit up. Let me save this for a second. Let me do that. Boop. I couldn't move my body. My fingers switched uselessly at my sides, and as my sides darted around in panic. Glancing about, I could see the interior of a cabin, at least the ceiling of one. I couldn't see much past the corner of my eyes. Where was I? How did I get here? A desperate feeling rose in my chest. I had to leave. Right now. This was wrong, wrong, wrong. I wasn't meant to be here. I could hear the crackling of a fire nearby, likely the source of warmth I had felt on waking up. I could also hear footsteps approaching. Pretend to be asleep. What can I do? Pretend to be asleep. Why not? I shut my eyes quickly, hoping they hadn't noticed. I slowed down my breathing, willing my face muscles to stay still. From beside me, someone chuckled softly. I already know you're awake, Firefly. Come on now. I'm not gonna hurt you. Who are you? Okay, what the fuck are you? I fluttered my eyelids, straining to look at the person approaching. My eyes widened as I took in their appearance. The protrusions from their forehead catching my attention. Okay. Not to mention the green skin? The stranger didn't sense my unease as they heaved a sigh of relief. You're awake. That's good. Very, very good. How are you feeling? I blinked. Oh! Sorry, I forgot about that. Here. The person held a cup to my lips, a strong, sweet smell coming from the rim. A gentle hand grabbed my chin to open my mouth. I couldn't even move to resist. Don't worry. It'll help you feel better, I promise. Drink up! As the liquid hit my tongue, all I could feel was a vague sense of heat. As I kept drinking, taste and texture returned. Sweetness of berries and chamomile coating my taste buds. I couldn't even detect a hint of mint. I lifted my head finally, hands fisting at my sides as I propped myself onto my elbows. The person kept a steady hand on my chin, careful to not pour in too much in case I choked. I finished every last drop, wiping my mouth with the back of my hand. I stared at my fingers, realizing I had full autonomy over my body again. Good as new. Now, how are you feeling? Better, thank you. The stranger laughed. Oh boy. Can you guys hear the audio? I can kind of hear music. The stranger laughed. Oh, I like the way you sound. Been ages since I talked to anyone, much less with a voice as nice as yours. Ooh. Okay, cool. I brushed off the strange compliment, finally looking around the cabin properly. It was a simple room filled with sparse, but decorated wooden furniture. Fit for someone living alone. Okay, cool. Alrighty? Oh shit, fuck. Okay. An open archway to the right led to what I assumed was the kitchen. Next to it, a door was closed shut. Sorry guys, rip. Cool. Possibly the bathroom? Taking it in, there was a common theme of knitted decorations strewn about. Any available surface had patterned knitted tablecloths covering it. An unfinished project laid beside the bedside table where I sat, a pair of knitting needles jutting out the pile of yarn from a small basket. As far as I could tell, it looked like the beginnings of a green scarf. The stranger was comfortable in staying silent, observing me as I glanced around. They tossed their hat onto the bed, scruffing their hair and making it even messier. With their hat off, unique features were impossible to ignore. Sorry, but what are you? Hmm? Oh, I didn't introduce myself, did I? Hold on. Oh, I didn't introduce myself, did I? Okay, cool. Hiya, I'm Michael, with a Y. I shook my head. No, I meant that, Michael stared at me, their left ear twitching. You look very... He snorted. Ugly? Off-putting? No, just different. Different, huh? Here's being nice. Well, then explain yourself. I mean, that kind of rude, isn't it? I paused for a moment before pitching my nose, exhaling slowly. I'm just... Sorry, it's been a long day is all. I should be thanking you. If it helps, it's a skin condition? Is that what you humans call them? The way they said it didn't sound confident. And the ears. Genetics? Right. And I assumed a little... I waved vaguely at their horns. Antennae. Those things are just a cosplay to complete the look? Would that make a convincing argument? I squinted. Maybe... And yeah, it's cosplay. So it doesn't explain everything. Michael huffed a nervous laugh. Listen, I'm just a guy living by himself in the woods. You don't need to worry yourself further than that, okay? Something in his tone compelled you not to question his existence anymore. He's just some guy, living in the woods. Completely normal. Right, completely normal. I'm Mando. Michael beamed. Nice to meet you, Mando. I fiddled with the blankets as Michael scooted closer from the edge of the bed. I know I already asked, but how are you feeling? Any aches, sores, nausea? Intrusive thoughts, weird impulses, fever maybe? I don't know, he placed his hand on my forehead before I could react. His hands were callous, completely retracting as he gave a thoughtful hum. You seem to be lucid. That's a good sign. Great? He hummed, absently, his switching hair reminding me of a perturbed cat. I can't speak. Cat. My cat! Oh, shoot! Sorry if this seems out of nowhere, but have you seen a cat around these parts? Her name's Poppy. She's a sweet little thing, about this big. Skittish, but she can approach strangers if she needs to. I pulled out my phone to show pictures of her, only to find it missing from my back pocket. Wait, where is... I haven't. Huh? Your cat. I haven't seen it. Oh, I see. I slumped against the pillows, rubbing at my temples. She lost her collar, too. If anyone finds her, they wouldn't be able to tell where she's from. Damn it. Michael stayed quiet, watching from his side of the bed. You came all the way out here for a cat? Huh? Of course. To the point where you're willing to run yourself ragged this deep into the forest for a cat? Do you really realize how far you wandered away from the nearest town? I found you near unconscious, in an area no one's set foot in for years. For a cat! He sounded like he was holding himself back from reading a stern lecture, as if in disbelief I had such little regard to my own survival. My cheeks grew heated at how stupid reckless that sounds. I mean, she's not just a cat, she's my family. I know it was stupid for even trying, but I had to. Michael eased up, shoulders tense as he looked over from underneath his unruly bangs. Family, huh? He finally tipped his head at me with a smile. You're willing to wander this far for such a small critter? I've had my fair share of lost campers, hunters, and a few faraway teens or two. But someone looking for their pet? You're kind of weird, aren't you? I sputtered, much to his amusement. Speak for yourself. Who cosplays in the middle of the woods? Michael laughed. A deeply hearty one resonated from the chest. Fair. I think I'm starting to like you, Mando. Likewise? His smile widened, but something was off. He was showing too much teeth. I feel like he hadn't talked to anyone for a real long time and forgot how to smile the right amount. I rubbed my neck, trying to think of something to say. Can I ask, how'd you get here? How did I get here? Oh, how did I get here? Oh, like I said, I found you in the woods, not too far from here. Oh, geez, really? I knew I was tired, but I couldn't have possibly... Huh? Did I step in something important? Familiar pinpricks crept up my skin. Home. I need to go home. Michael stiffened as he grabbed my shoulder. Never mind that. He fell unconscious from a heat stroke. Heat stroke? No, that wasn't what happened. I was fine up until... Michael shook his head instantly, leaning close. No, Firefly, you weren't fine at all. If I hadn't found you when I did, well, who knows what could have happened. You could have gotten injured or attacked by a wild animal. There's danger in these woods, you know? No, he was right. You had been so foolish. How did you think you could do this on your own? Searching for a cat in the middle of the woods. And to go in without bringing any water. Passing out from heat stroke of all things? How could you have been so stupid? I shook my head, brain too foggy to pick apart my thoughts. He sounded confident, so why should you doubt him? Well, if it means anything, I'm glad you were there. Michael relaxed, hand on his lap once more. He grinned at me. So am I, Mando. I'm definitely glad I found you. His eyes were hidden behind his unruly hair, but I couldn't stop feeling how intensively they were fixated on me as he said that. The hairs on the back of my neck stood. Sure. Without a distraction, I only realized how uncomfortable I was standing still. The blanket on me was starting to itch as the desperate need to get home began to rise in me again. This was interesting, but I should really get going. Wait! My host jumped from the bed before I could. I mean, I can't just let you wander around the woods this late. Please stay a bit longer. But Michael, I really have to. Come! He grabbed my hand and led me across the room. We stepped into the kitchen, a fragrant smell of cooked potatoes and meat hanging in the air. Let me save for a second. Boop, boop. Save, yep, boop. Hanging in the air. 2 plates had been set out on a small circular table, complete with utensils and mugs of tea. I wasn't expecting guests today, so the food is nothing fancy. But, join me for dinner? He looked hopeful, ears dropping. You feel so bad if you had to say no. Sure, why not? Michael's jaw dropped for a second before he quickly recovered. Yes, of course, here. Come sit, I'll serve the cottage pie in a minute. I sat as instructed, my stomach rumbling as fierce as the smell was the only thing I could focus on. Okay? I sat as instructed, my stomach fierce as the smell was the only thing I could focus on. Yes, this was definitely the right choice. What was it so important that you had to leave so soon? The outside world can wait. You could stay here. Enjoy my company. Oh, actually, I should ask, are you okay with meat for dinner? I can make something else for you if that's not your preference. I don't eat meat. I'm okay with meat. I feel like this is gonna get darker and, like, I don't know. What can I do? Should I eat meat? Let's not eat meat. Good thing I asked. Thanks for letting me know. Let me pick some veggies from the garden. I'll make you something. He left out the back door with a basket, coming back from inside surprisingly quick and a smile on his face. I expected him to toss something in the bowl and just have it done like that. But apparently he had other plans. I watched as he washed the veggies thoroughly before chopping them up with an extra sharp knife, setting them aside and pulling out a container from one of the cabinets. He set a pan on the stove and oiled it up, tossing it half the ingredients, seasoning them with some herbs and spices, while the pot boils next to it. The small kitchen quickly filled up with the smell of his cooking. My mouth was already watering in response. I twiddled with the fork on the table, trying to ignore the gnawing feeling in my gut. Luckily, I didn't have to wait long. Before I knew it, Michael had already finished, humming as he strode over to the table and set my food down in front of me. I looked down at my dinner and gasped. It looked so good! The rice was fluffy, and it peeked underneath the colorful pile of veggies. I didn't know a simple dish could look so tantalizing. The serving size was a bit heartier than I expected. He must have known I was starving. Michael brought over a serving of cottage pie as he settled into his seat. Sorry to make you wait. I try to keep it simple but filling. Go ahead, dig in. You didn't have to tell me twice. I jogged my fork into the dish, scooping up the rice with a spoon in my other hand and shoving it into my mouth. Hot! Michael kept the polite expression coming from the corner as looking at as I panted with the food still in my mouth. He gave a few seconds to recover, elbow planted on the table. Is it good? I nodded vigorously, even though my buds were burning. I couldn't taste anything. He laughed. It's usually better on the second bite. I slowed down, hand on my mouth as Michael poked his fork into his pie. I tentatively blew on the plate to make sure it was cool before taking another bite. He was right. The second bite was a lot better. The rice was soft and flavorful, mixing nicely with the crunch of the vegetables and with every chew. I never had greens this fresh, and while how gently he cooked them in every single element was finished to perfection. My host watched me enjoy the meal from across the table. Do you like it? Yeah, this tastes amazing, Michael. He flushed from the compliment, rubbing the back of his neck. Heh, I'm glad. I like to think of myself as a decent cook, but I've never been able to get anyone else's opinion on that. Do you like baking in particular? Not always. I usually go for simple dishes with any ingredients available. I nodded admissively, though it didn't say much else. I was more focused on scarfing down dinner, which thankfully Michael didn't seem to mind. The overall atmosphere was nice and homely, and I could hear Michael tapping his feet from underneath the table. I guess he was that happy to have someone stay for dinner? It did seem like he had lived alone, judging from the surroundings of his cabin. So, I'm kind of curious. He perked up instantly, his focus solely on me. What made you want to live all the way out here? Oh! Well, when you look like me, it's kind of easier to just live out of sight from everyone else. A pang of guilt shot through my chest. I was giving him a hard time for how he looked too. He must have sent it clear as day on my face. Not that you're one of them. You're actually been nicer than most. Though I wonder if... His smile turned strained. Never mind. My point is better here than anywhere else. Why don't you try the tea, Firefly? He seemed uncomfortable now, easing into a different topic. Probably best to follow along. Oh, sure. Let me save. Boop. There we go. Boop. Oh, sure. I reached out towards my mug, only to push off the edge with the clumsy fingers. Wait! I bent over the side to grab it, fully expecting it to fall and reach the land. Fully expecting it to fall just out of reach and land on the floor into broken pieces. It never did. Instead, a long gray appendage was switched around the ceramic mug, securely keeping it in place. Not even a drop had fallen out. My eyes trailed along the length of it until I pinpointed that it came from behind Michael. The rest of it partially hidden from behind his guardian. Michael? Is that yours? Michael buried his face in his hands, the strange appendage from before lowering to his side, mug in tow. I'm sorry, Mando. I think it's time I was honest. He lifted his head, fingers carding his hair back to reveal his eyes. I froze in two. No. Multiple pairs of irises stared right into mine before darting to the side eye and avoiding my gaze. I know it's a lot to take in, but this is who I really am. Please, please, please don't be scared. Remain calm. Cool. I swallowed audibly, willing myself to not look away. He seemed to be holding his breath as I gripped the edge of the table. It felt unsettling every time he blinked. Those eyes in succession, even when he wasn't looking at me. Was it real? It had to be. Everything about him suddenly made so much sense. The isolation, the avoidant behavior. He looked freakly, yes, but he also looked sad. I swallowed thickly. I'm not scared. I'm not scared. Michael's pupils be wide, dilating like an excited wildcat. I tended to shiver up my spine. Okay, maybe just a little bit scared. Sorry. He hastily got an empty weight behind it. His shoulders scrunched up despite his... would it help if I just hide it? I could fix my hair like before. That's what you prefer. His voice was muffled behind the ceramic barrier between us. It was kind of endearing. I slowly reached out to touch his hand. I rushed my fingertips, making him jump in place. Michael? Yeah? Can you put that down? He slowly lowered the plate. His eyes were still darted to the side, avoiding me. Can you look at me? Oh. Don't look at me like that. Sorry, I just can't stop looking. This was so awkward. His hands were shaking. I looked down at the mug floating next to him, hanging for dear life. I reached over and plucked it straight from his grasp. I tentatively took a sip. Notice how Michael was watching over the rim of his mug. This was mildly spicy, with almost earthly bite to it. I recognized it instantly as ginger tea. It's almost room temperature, but it's still pretty good. Huh? Wanted me to try the tea, right? I like it, so thank you. Oh, I'm glad. Michael relaxed back into his seat, following my lead as I picked up from the fork once more. The silence didn't last long as Michael fidgeted. Are you really okay with this? With me? I gave him a once over, really taking in his features. It's very different from what I'm used to, but I think I can learn to like it. Is that weird to say? I mean, you're not bad to look at. Actually kind of, damn it, what did I say? Cool. Hot. I can say cool. Should I say pretty? Cool. Let's say cool. Something like how it's science fiction. Is that a good thing? Yeah! Oh! My point is, your appearance shouldn't matter. You've been nothing but kind to me so far. I'd be the worst kind of person to judge someone based on how they look. I haven't known you that long, but you seem like a good person. You're fine, Michael. I smiled at him. We're fine. I see. He fidgeted some more before nodding, smiling a bit. Thanks, Mando. I'll cherish this moment forever. Oh my god. He beamed at me as he enthusiastically went back to eating his food. That was something. We continued with the small talk, mostly stories about Poppy or snippets from my personal life. Michael hung on to every word I said, not bothering to elaborate much about himself, despite my burning curiosity. I could tell he was extremely insecure about his appearance, so it was probably best I keep my questions to myself for tonight. We cleared up the kitchen in relative silence, Michael storing away the rest of the pie as I washed the dishes by the sink. Oop, cool. Hold on. As I washed the dishes by the sink. Being out here in this remote cabin, I wonder how he had running water. Maybe I'll ask him later. So, thanks for dinner. Thanks for the company. Oh, and please, take the bed tonight. But, you're my guest, I'm the host. Take the bed, okay? Alright, I'll be out of your hair first thing in the morning. Michael got quiet, staring at the floorboards. With his hair out of the way, I could finally read his expressions. He did seem upset. Is that okay? I do need your help, though. I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna get lost again on my own. His tail flickered behind him. Yeah, I'll bring you home tomorrow morning. I heaved a sigh of relief. Thanks, Michael. I'll see you in the morning. Yeah. Good night, Mando. Good night, Michael. He seemed really happy being able to say that. I plopped myself onto Michael's bed, getting comfortable beneath the blanket. Michael was gathering some blankets of his own to make a makeshift bed on the floor in front of the fire. He had an impressive collection of knitted items, a comfortable nest forming in the center of the room. Ooh, cool. My eyes trailed after his tail, now out in the open as it flicked and swayed. Kinda like a cat. I missed Poppy. Now, with the full stomach, dozing off came easy. I didn't even realize how tired I was. I listened to the gentle cracking of the fire, my vision darkening. Good night, Mando. Soft humming invaded my dreams, stirring me awake. Oop. I blinked my eyes open to unfamiliar surroundings, swallowed in a blanket that clearly wasn't mine. Where? Oh. I spotted the familiar of my host, seated on a stool in front of the fire, hands deftly working on the green scarf bundle in his lap. His back was towards me. I caught glimpses of his fingers as the needle softly clicked behind the yarn. He looked incredibly adept at using them. The rhythmic movements almost hypnotic as the fibers were wound together into an intricate pattern. I slowly stirred into a sitting position, rubbing at my eyes. The moment quickly caught his attention, ear flicking in my direction before his eyes trained onto me. Just like last night, his pupils blew up as we made eye contact. His expression lit up the instant he saw me. Mando, hey, I'm glad you're finally awake. You look so tired. I didn't want to disturb you until you gotten enough rest. Good morning, Michael. Good morning, Mando. Do you sleep well? I was still too groggy to answer his question, a yawn slipping out as I stretched. He smiled kindly, a soft chuckle under his breath. Like a baby then? Like a baby then? He pointed over his shoulder to the door beside the fireplace, tilting his head towards it. You can freshen up in the bathroom if you'd like, while I start making up some food. I'll have eaten a breakfast by now, but I want you to join me while the food is still hot. How do eggs and toast sound? Sound delicious. Great! I'll see you in the kitchen then. He tucked away his knitting materials and set it aside. Oh, I also have a surprise for you after breakfast. It's not the most exciting surprise, but just join me when you're ready. He ducked into the kitchen without another glance. I could hear his boots thud about the floorboards, cabinets opening and closing in succession in the kitchen. Oh my god. Whoop, what happened? Alrighty, cool. Oh my god. I suppose that's my cue. Cool. I rolled out of bed, leaving the warmth out of Michael's blankets and trotting over the door Michael pointed out. Stepping inside, I didn't know what I was expecting when he said he had a bathroom, so it was surprisingly spacious. Everything looked like it was carved and polished out of wood. He seemed to have everything you'd find in a modern bathroom. A sink with a cabinet, a shower, a tub, and even a toilet. Obviously, it's a bathroom. That's the whole point of it. But okay, yeah. Oh shit. Curious, I crept over the toilet in particular, inspecting it. There wasn't a tank like you'd expect where the water would be stored. Instead, there was a compartment to the side with a sawdust and a scoop. I expected to have a bit of a smell, but it was surprisingly odorless. There was even a roll of toilet paper on the side. It was no flushing system, but it was hygienic. Michael must have done his research. Walking over to the sink, I stared at the faucet before hesitantly twisting it. I jumped when I heard the rush of water pouring and filling the basin before disappearing for who knows where. Wow. Why am I impressed by a damn functioning bathroom sink? Exactly, bro. I helped with the dishes last night. I already knew Michael had plumbing. Shaking my head, I finished freshening up and headed to the kitchen. Michael looked as I entered, a steaming kettle in his hand with 2 empty mugs on the counter. It must have been the lighting, but he was taller than I remembered. Glancing to the table, I could see he already finished plating up our food. Oh wow, you work really fast. Michael looked proud of himself. Can't have my guests stay on an empty stomach. Go on, have a seat. I'll join you in a moment. I returned his smile and sat down, stomach grumbling as I looked at our plates. Once again, Michael was generous with the serving sizes. Fat slices of bread were toasted perfectly with crisp buttered sides. The scrambled eggs looked tantalizing, the smell of savory herbs wafting into my nose. My mouth watered. Michael set down a steaming mug beside me before settling into his own seat. Peeking above the rim, I could smell flowers floating about, tinting the water yellow. It faintly smelled of apples. I recognized the yellow dried pellets on tea packaging I've seen before. Oh, chamomile? Chamomile? He nodded. Okay. I hope you like it. I'm sure I will. His smile widened, his tail swaying at the tip by his feet. Okay. Oop. His smile widened, his tail swaying at the tip by his feet. He seemed much more relaxed, showing his natural features this morning. Any trace of panic and hesitation from last night were gone, replaced by a look of contentment. Michael bit into his toast as I followed suit. And the food was as delicious as I expected. The chunk of toast I had bit into was heavenly, the butter sweet on my tongue, and the eggs. Something about home-cooked food is just the best. Michael was happy to eat in silence, occasionally looking up at me as I enjoyed my food. He smiled when our eyes met, his bottom pair narrowing into a happy squint. I wonder if he'd be open to some questions. Hey! Do you mind if I ask, how did he learn to cook? What's it like living in the woods? Let's see. What's it like living in the woods? What did I ask? I can't believe how cozy you managed to make it, considering the whole middle of nowhere thing. It wasn't like this when I found it. No? It was a major, fixer-upper? So the cabin was abandoned. I never would have guessed. Yeah, I'm really happy I get to live somewhere permanent for once. It's not much, but it's home. What's it like? Peaceful, quiet. I do like it a lot. The forest provides me with everything I need. And nobody bothers me for the way I look out here. His ear twitched slightly. Sometimes you just gotta end up where it's most convenient for you and everywhere else. When he avoided my eyes, he said that gave me the impression that there's something more to it. Like its home wasn't just out of a convenience, but a fear of something else. Rejection, perhaps, or something worse. Anyways, I don't really have anything else to say about it unless there's something specific you want to ask. He doesn't think about his answer before beaming at me. What about you? I know you've told me a little bit about yourself, but what's it like being you? I scoffed, waving a hand. Please, I'm the least interesting person in this room, trust me. His eyes were shining in earnest as he leaned forward. Tell me anyway. Oh, well, it's not about my life, at least the parts I was comfortable sharing. Just like last night, his eyes didn't leave my face, occasionally darting about my features in interest. Ooh, let me see. Yeah. Interest. The direct ogling was making me nervous, but I suppose I was doing the exact same thing when it was his turn to talk. Eventually, I came to the topic of my job and the woes of living in modern capitalism. I am a bit jealous. He has this whole cottagecore aesthetic practically perfect. His face morphed into a confused pout. Cottagecore? I explained to him in my own words. Oh, you're saying you want to live the way I do, out in the woods? I know, without hesitation. I mean, I wouldn't mind showing you the ropes. His tone seemed strangely lifted. What do you mean? Never mind. Anyway, I don't get what the appeal is, but it's not easy either, you know. The forest provides, but it's up to me to make use of it. Starting out was a dark look over his face, a dark look crossed over his face, as if reliving a bitter memory. Rough. But I'm built for survival. I feel like asking him to elaborate would make things awkward. I decided to veer the topic into a different direction. Doesn't it get lonely? Sometimes. I'm used to it. He smiled, his eyes lighting up. Besides, I have you at the moment, don't I? I never thought I enjoyed having someone around. You must be really special. How do you learn to cook? Cottage pie is a pretty complicated recipe. I just wonder if anyone taught you how to cook. I'd be lucky if someone could teach me how to make boiled eggs, Firefly. Oh my god. Okay, cool. But it was trial and error mostly. My earlier endeavors were, pretty much inedible. I picked up a thing or two about cooking though, so your taste buds aren't gonna fall victim to nasty creations like my early days at least. Oh boy. Speaking of, did you say dinner last night? Of course I did. You're a really good cook, Michael. I'm glad? Hold on, wait. Doop. It probably wasn't obvious, but I'm really happy I got to cook for you. I don't get any guests often, as you couldn't, in case you couldn't tell. I should ask you to cook for me every day then. Oh my god, bro. He grinned at my joke, looking pleased. Oh boy. Oop. I'd be happy to. Aw, you know my joke. I'd be happy to. I took another bite. So, what's your favorite thing to cook? He lit up at the question. Hold on, wait. Oop. Fried mushrooms. Fried mushrooms? Yeah. There's plenty to find and it's easy to make. Huh? I do remember finding a patch of mushrooms yesterday. It smelled pretty funky though. You remember that? What was that? Nothing. Anyway, mushrooms were the only thing I had for a while before figuring out I could eat other stuff like roots and veggies. You forged all your ingredients? Mostly. The times I figured out how to catch fish and hunt game were the best of my life, I'll tell you that. My first taste of meat? He did an awkward version of Chef's Kiss, as in mimicking something he saw on television once. Mamma mia. Was he trying to say Mamma mia? He continued before I could dwell on it for a second longer. But nothing beats what you humans are able to make. You guys go nuts with ingredients. Rice was a challenge. It's a precious ingredient since I had to actually get some from a store. And once I figured out how to make it nice and fluffy, I considered it a special treat. I did a double take. You go to the store? Yeah? Where else would I get it? I thought you would grow it yourself or something. He laughed as I flushed in embarrassment. It's flattering you think I'm even capable of something that impressive, but no. There's only so much the forest can provide. But what about money? We're talking about human currency, right? Otherwise, would you actually have a job? A thought occurred to me. Or did you steal it? He almost looked offended. Do you take me for a criminal? No. But that would mean, then how? Michael bit into his toes, his two eyes winking in mischief. I have my ways, Firefly. What's that supposed to mean? How do you have plumbing in your house? It was a silly question, but I can't stop thinking about it. Oh, you were wondering about that? How do you have plumbing in your house? You were wondering about that? The embarrassed look on his face was probably enough of an answer. Aw. Well, it's nothing fascinating. It's just rainwater I got stored above the cabin. Just rainwater? He nodded. I attached a hint of pride as he continued. It's actually a recent installment, believe it or not. Granted, the project took a while. Gathering materials, figuring out the tools, finding the right instruction manuals. Plus, I had to figure out where to store the water tank. And don't worry, I installed a filtration system, so it's safe for us to use. I check in every few weeks to make sure nothing's contaminated. That sounded daunting, especially considering he lived all the way out here in the woods. You did all that on your own? I kinda had to. Anyway, it took a lot of calibrating and adjusting, but it really worked out. And now that I think about, I'm glad you get to be comfortable here during your stay too. Does that answer your question? Yeah, where did you learn to do all that? I had to figure out a lot of things on my own. There was a faint hint of exhaustion in his eyes. But to answer your question, I go to libraries a lot. It's where I learned about a majority of things. The fact that I even ventured into buildings at all surprised me. If I'm real lucky to have all these neat DIY and workshop manuals for anyone to browse through, it took a while to figure everything out. A really long time actually, but hey, I had nothing but time. And it paid off. I'm considering upgrading the toilet next, but for now, the composting setup works fine. Learned about that in an old camping guide. He paused to take a breath as he hadn't talked this much in a while. I'm rambling, but that's how I did it. Is there anything else you want to ask? Wait, you've been to libraries? His ears perked up, posture straightening. Oh yeah! I can't tell you enough how much books have helped me. I made it this far only because I quickly figured out how to read. Well, figured out that I can read. Do you visit often? In my early days, any chance I could get. Nowadays, I stick to my side of the forest though. Gotta make sure people don't wander off too far than they're meant to. I paused in my chewing as the teasing lit in his voice. Hey, I'm joking. Anyways, if you're wondering what I do about this, he gestured towards his face. I just have to make sure everything's covered. You'd be surprised how little people pay attention to me when I bundle up just right. Do people not give you trouble? He struggled nonchalantly. Small-town libraries are usually so empty from my experience. And people just mind their own business there. Huh, I guess that's true. I can't remember the last time I visited a library. I guess libraries would be Michael's equivalent to the World Wide Web, pretty much. I should introduce him to the internet sometime. Actually, maybe not. Not without parental controls. Finally satisfied, I went back to eating my food. I'm starting to know a lot more about Michael. He didn't directly say it, but it felt like he was lonelier than he was letting on. Not to mention, he managed to make a home for himself, all on his own. I had to wonder if he had anyone at all. Do you have any family around? Family? His expression turned solemn for a moment before he looked sheepish. Remind me how that works again? I get the concept, based on some books I've read. I don't have what you call parents, is that what you're asking? My mouth dropped and opened in shock. No parents? He shrugged and took another bite of toast. Not that I recall. Then what's that like, living with so many people with you in such close proximity? Huh? That's how it works, right? You know, other humans living in one house? And you have this, Dena thing that you relate to the rest? That's what makes a family, right? You're talking about DNA? His definition threw me off, but I had to answer somehow. Not just that. Family is... Ooh, people you're related to, like your mom, people that you love and care about. I guess they are people who you live, whether by choice or not. People you're related to, I guess. Why not? He nodded at my explanation. I couldn't help think he looked somewhat relieved. If that's the case, I definitely don't have family around. As far as my relations go, I'm the only one of me there is and ever will be. He sounded determined about that fact. So I assume you're not a family person then? He looked amused at my question. Definitely not. I found that surprising. He seemed like the type, but I guess I couldn't just assume that. Although, he told with his mug, his brows furrowed as he stared at it. It does sound nice, knowing that you have that undeniable bond with someone. Something to link to you with others, just underneath the surface. That kind of relationship, that's what makes it unique and precious, wouldn't it? He looks at me, and his eyes almost full of longing. But some things aren't just meant for me. What do you mean? He smiled, shrugging. Nothing you have to worry about, Firefly. What a strange man. To be fair, everyone's definition of family could be different. What about you? What's your definition of family? Michael looked surprised as I asked him that question. I don't know. I've never had one, and I think your answer just confused me more. Well, if you ever figure it out, let me know. Michael stared at the remaining crumbs on his plate before he nodded, avoiding my gaze. Sure. We both fell quiet, the little conversation blanketing us in a comfortable silence. All this family talk. It reminded me of the reason I'm out here in the first place. To look for my beloved cat, a sight I might not ever be able to see again. I couldn't help the sinking feeling in my chest, the growing pit in my stomach. I wish I was able to find Poppy. You'd have loved her. Michael opened his mouth to say something, but changed his mind. My voice warbled as a lump formed in my throat. Sorry. I just miss her so much. I kept thinking, if I went looking for her sooner, maybe I would have been able to find her by now. He was so quick to speak up. You did your best, Firefly. No one else could have gone to the lengths that you did. You almost risked getting yourself. I'm sure wherever she is, she's doing okay. You really think so? I know so. His voice was laced with a confident assurance, despite the worried look on his face. I nodded with a quiet sniff. I hope so. She's just important to me is all. Michael looked like he wanted to reach across the table from me, but he sighed and said, Actually, I'm sorry, Mando. I should tell you. Maybe I do have family now that I think about it. That was the surprise I mentioned before. Wait, really? He nodded. Are you done? I could take you to meet them right now. I looked down at my plate. During the conversation, I didn't realize I finished the meal. Yeah, I'm done. His moves were quick, stacking empty plates and mugs and setting them in the sink. He grasped my hand before I could say another word, pulling me up and hitting me with the toe. As the door swung open, I can only see Forrest ahead before he tugged me at me along as he rounded to the side of the cabin. Almost immediately, my peripherals were assaulted by greens on both sides. I figured he was the type to grow his own vegetables, but see, he in person as confirmation was a whole different thing. With Michael leading the way, I only had a moment to take in the surrounding garden. He had marked the different plots with messy drawings on small wooden signs, just jutting out of the dirt. Carrots, lettuce, potatoes, trellises of tomatoes and beans. I wouldn't have been able to differentiate one plant from another without the signs. Even the chamomile from our tea had just now grew abundant close by, but the small buds swaying gently. I bumped into Michael and suddenly stopped, the man looking over his shoulder to beam at me. We reached out and looked at a fenced-off area with a bit of netting and stretching all around. He stepped outside, watching me. Yeah, chickens. Fat, happy little hens uttered like they owned the place. As he entered the gate, the hens swarmed over at an instant of Michael's feet, circling him and pecking at his boots. Ladies, meet Mando! Mando, these are Mawar, Sansuyu, and Primrose, or I'd like to call him Mar, Sunny, and Rosie. So there you go. He ducked to pick one up, fluffing up her feathers as he smiled. He gently scratched the little hen's head, which I assumed was Rosie. She practically melted his pampering eyes, sliding shut. The other two flapped their wings in a huff and went about their business once more. Michael leaned closer, beckoning me to pet Rosie. She was so soft. Rosie's the oldest. She doesn't lay eggs anymore, but I couldn't bring myself to, you know. Sorry about her some friends. Mar came first, Sunny's a recent addition. What do you think? Do we make a good family? I laughed and nodded, watching as Rosie nuzzled into Michael's chest. I expect chickens of all things. Were you expecting something else? Expecting to be someone else. Oh. No. When you look like me, people generally don't stick around. There's that negative self-talk again. You don't even look that bad. His eyes flickered to mine, a pleasant surprise crossing his face. Really think so? Yeah? You can't be that naive, Firefly. I mean it. He let out a polite scoff as he scratched Rosie's head absently. You genuinely believe people wouldn't run away at the sight of me? Well, I didn't. His smile turned smug, the corner of his lips lifting just a bit. Of course you didn't. Because you couldn't. Shoot. He wasn't wrong. I was pretty much paralyzed in his bed when we first met. But I still don't think you look that bad. Is that so? Describe me then. What? You heard me. Look at me and describe what you see. For a second, I thought he was becoming condescending, but looking at his eyes, all I could see was a bit of playfulness. He looked at me expectantly, eyes shining. You're tall? Go on. You have blonde hair? He gave an amused squint, his left ear twitching. What else? Do you have green skin and a tail? He chuckled. There was no malice in it. That's not all, is it? He definitely expected me to say it straight. Oh, fine. So you don't look human? So what? He hummed absently. That's what I was saying. Animals generally don't care if you look like a monster. My heart twisted at his words. His passive nonchalance somewhat made it even worse. Michael, you're not a mon. A tug of my shoelace caught my attention. A light brown hen stood at my feet, her beady eyes shining. Sunny flapped her wings. Oh, Sunny. Oh, my God. Almost threateningly. Aw, I think she likes you. Go on, pick her up. Gently, just like how I did with Rosie. I hesitated, but slowly lowered myself to cup Sunny by her wings. Lifting her up, she was quick to nestle herself until she was comfortably tucked in under my arms. I could feel her wings wiggling as she nuzzled into my side. So cute. Oh, wait, so cute. Michael's gaze softened as I cooed at the chicken, mimicking her small clucks. So, did it help? Cheering you up, I mean? Oh, so that's what this was. A fuzzy feeling bloomed in my chest as he looked at me, chicken in arms and concern in his face. A little bit, yeah. Only a little? I snickered, rolling my eyes. Okay, mister, a lot. That's more like it. His proud grin was infectious. I couldn't help smiling back. We spent a little more time with the hens, petting them until they were satisfied. Michael even showed me the spot where they like to have their dust baths, little chicken-shaped holes scattered around the dry soil underneath the coop. Once the gals had enough of us, we refilled their water container before leaving. He left some treats, procuring them straight from his pockets before shutting the gate. The girls' excited chatter over the food faded as we made our way back inside the cabin. I sat by his bed as he crushed down the fireplace. I probably have to leave this guy. I have to leave it here because it's getting kind of late over here. So this is really fun. This is really cool. I'm interested. I wonder what Michael has to offer, and I wonder what happened with Poppy, with our cat. So that would be cool. It would be cool to know. So we'll find out eventually. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll definitely come back to this, and I shall see you guys next time. Bye.